Hey, what's up, folk? It's 10 o'clock on March 8th, and I've been watching a lot of Grey's Anatomy because I didn't really have anything to watch for a while, but I had gotten Netflix. And before I get to the point of the video, I just want to say I I believe I heard it a while back, like a year or two or five back, that I heard some comment somewhere about Grey's Anatomy being like all about like the sex and stuff. I heard some comment that like Grey's Anatomy had a lot of had a lot of sex in it and stuff. And now I'm on the fifth season, and I just want to say yes, Grey's Anatomy has a lot of sex in it. Like everybody, by the fifth season, it almost seems like all the main characters have had sex with all the other main characters. I know they haven't, but a lot of them have exchanged fluids. Like there has been too much sex from the doctors. There's way too much sex for um, people that actually understand, like on a scientific level, what is involved in like sex, and they, you know, the biology of it and the conditions under where it would be um, not healthy, but how it would be sterile to have sex in, that sort of thing, where it would be clean to have sex in, that sort of thing. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Where it would be clean. And where if you already knew other people were having sex in, you might be like, yeah, I don't know if we should do it here because like 4,000 other people have had sex right here. So I don't think, even though, yeah, they cleaned it and stuff, um, it just feels icky. So maybe when I like wait until we can go back to my place, because at least then, like, you know, it's my place. Whatever. Anyways, all that being said, I just want to say that America, America and capitalism, because America is still heavily entrenched in its sexy love affair with capitalism and for profiteeringism. uh, that we here have a big blind spot when it comes to um, vision and stuff like that. And China has really done a good job with doing the whole 5 year, 10-year plan things. And America has a bad job at setting longer term goals as a country. Um, we were better at doing that during the Cold War, primarily because the country and the two ruling parties were like all on the same page. So, like with the moon race thing, it was just understood that the two ruling parties and the military industrial complex and the corporations, everyone that was running everything, they all got together publicly and privately, you know, in front of news cameras, in their meetings and in their backdoor meetings. They got together in all those places and they made the decisions. And even some of the times they aired the decisions, you know, on TV, on radio, and in newspapers, and they told some of the decisions publicly. They told the truth, and some of them they lied about, but whatever. And then they stuck to that shit. And now they're just like kind of doing it on the fly and changing this shit up every 2 years, every year. Every 3 6 months. They're running shit. They're making decisions kind of like corporations do. You know, they're running shit by the quarterly estimates and stuff. And that's just a bad way to run a country. That is a really bad way to run a country, run a civilization. You have to have the short term and the long term visions for a civilization. And they don't need to sync up all the time, but they have to be aligned with each other. And increasingly, the world vision has to line up with that too. And that's something that's new in the history of humanity, but that's coming up. That's another big problem with America. That America isn't learning, you know, the current leadership of America isn't kind of, you know, getting on board with humanity as a whole. But whatever on that point. Here comes the damn train. I forgot 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock is one of the times they usually come around. Yeah, it's gonna honk its horn. Hold on. Well, what I was point I was getting at was how we don't in America have vision. And I think I heard a cat. One thing, yeah, there is a cat outside. And she's meowing at the train. the episode of Grey's Anatomy that I was just watching and am watching still. They're doing something called I think they call it a domino transplant, which is they're transplanting multiple kidneys from, I think it's 6 kidney transplants at once. And that just kind of reminded me that, hold on. Just kind of reminded me of the whole notion, that the whole thing about livers regrow, and how I don't know why the U.S. In particular doesn't advertise or push or whatever for more people to volunteer or whatever to donate part of their livers. I guess it's because doing a live liver transplant, the donating half your liver is, I think that's the liver that regrows, is not without risks, not entirely without risk, and afterwards you still have to kind of like take it a little easy for a few months while it starts to regrow and everything. You have to eat healthier and everything. But that all being said, it is the one thing that people need still. It's like the one organ that you can actually donate from and help people who need it, and it'll regrow. Now you have 2 kidneys and you can live off 1 kidney, but there's a reason you have 2 kidneys and 2 lungs and everything, because it's better to have 2 than just 1. And all that being said, why, oh why, this is the real point here, why oh why didn't America not 10 or 20 years ago start putting, a lot more money and resources into things like promoting, education and stuff like that, into, generally speaking, non-military civilian infrastructure. And I mean a lot more. I mean the kind of money that we're talking about when we're talking about like spending today in this last budget an additional $1 trillion on the military. Why didn't we 10, 15, 20 years ago start spending an additional $1 trillion on the civilian sector every year for the last 20 years in whatever. I mean, yeah, that's you know, you could spend you know all sorts of ways. A trillion, because $1 trillion in the military is arguably just let's just throw $1 trillion into a garbage can and burn it. But you throw that into the civilian sector, and it basically you get $1.5 trillion back every year. If you put it into the military, you basically burn the money. But if you spend it on education and healthcare and you know helping people with their drug programs and their drug problems and building parks, I mean, all sorts of little things to help people just be people in the country, it comes back to you as more than the dollar that you spend. I mean, this is proven in study after study after study, but if you spend a dollar on the military, you might as well just burn the dollar. It's just, you buy $100 bomb and drop the $100 bomb, you just spent the money. You might as well just give someone like me $100 and be like, buy $100 in cigarettes and smoke them, because it'd be better money spent, because then I'd have some cigarettes to smoke. I would like that money. It'd be better money spent as a taxpayer. Or booze. I don't drink anymore, but when I was drinking, that would be better money spent, because at least then I would be drunk and no one would have gotten bombed to shit. It would be better spent money. It'd be better money spent. Nobody would have died. Yeah, I wasn't drinking and driving. So that would be me personally. Somebody else might have been drinking and driving, but I never drink and drive. I was safe. So, I mean, give it to the universities and the elementary schools and middle schools, high schools, give it to rural hospitals, that sort of thing. I mean, I don't know, libraries. Shit, give it to theaters. I don't ever go to a theater. I don't think I've ever been to a theater. Give it to museums. Let the museums stay open. Let people be woke. Woke is better than asleep. I'm just saying, if you're gonna, if you can find a trillion, $1.5 trillion a year to blow people up. I'm sure you can find $1.5 trillion a year to make America stronger and, you know, fill in potholes and maybe make some public transportation and build renewable energy, electric cars. Um, Not to mention update the infrastructure, which I don't know might employ some people. Everybody's talking about new jobs. I think that would create a few jobs. Our ecosystem is nice and fucked up because of industry. So, you know, maybe we could just do a little bit of environmental reclamation with some of that $1.5 trillion. And yeah, I realize that's, you know, government employees, but better than bombs, right? I mean, bombs only do one thing, and that's kill people. Last time I checked. So, you know, I mean, unless you're going to drop a bomb on, you know, Mar-a-Lago, I know about 65% of America that would say, yeah, I don't think I want a bomb. So there you go. So yeah, or at the very least, $1.5 trillion to, you know, instead of giving tax breaks to billionaires, you could pay down the debt. I don't know. There's so many things you could do other than increase military spending or give tax breaks to billionaires. So many things you could do. Just so much better things to do than increase military spending. You could even, and I know this is a radical idea, but shore up the veterans affairs stuff. You could even do that. I know that's radical because I know the old guard Democrats and the Republicans have no interest in taking care of veterans, even though they campaign on it all the time. But I know they don't give a shit about veterans, but, you know, whatever. So, there you go. So, everybody think about that. Tax rich people, old kneecapping rich people, and boobs, lots of boobs, as always.